This is a knee wall, and any vertical wall that's considered that has insulation that's exposed to the interior attic is considered a knee wall. So in this attic, we're going to be 30 degrees in the wintertime or less, and it's an exposed area. Now, why is this a bad way to do insulation? When insulation is manufactured and tested and rated, it's rated at its full rated value when it's an enclosed situation. This is not enclosed. So what happens is when we actually do a D-rate on this insulation, the real insulation value of insulation that's installed this way on a knee wall is half of its rated value. So this is R13, so it's really a resistance value of 7.5, which is very poor. The other thing that was done, whoever installed this originally did not take into consideration that this bay is smaller than the width of the insulation. So they didn't give a hoot and they just left it the way it was, stuck it in the wall and hope it lasted. But it didn't last, and here's why. This insulation was manufactured with little tabs on it, and these little tabs are only made of paper. Over the years, something has eaten the paper, some bug or infestation or whatever, and that caused it to actually be loose inside the wall. So it wasn't particularly falling down, but it certainly was not up against the wall, and insulation only works when it's up against the heated wall. And if there's an airspace between the heated wall and the insulation, what happens is it's got zero value, because when cold air, 30-degree air, can get behind the insulation and up and down here, up and down in between the cavity of the wall and the insulation, it's not doing anything. So that's what's going on here. It's in the bay, and I'm going to stick it back in here because we can't staple it now that the house is already built, and push it back. But what I am going to do is fortify the value of this wall. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to add more insulation to this structure. So we're starting with 3.5 inches, then we're going to add 6 inches of insulation, and then we're going to enclose it. Once we enclose it, it's going to be its full rated value. And with the 6 and the 3, technically, if that was one single assembly, that would be considered R30. However, I'm going to derate this a little bit because it's in a vertical space that is not enclosed by wood or anything else. So we're going to enclose it with something else. But when we do, it's going to have, I'm going to give it a free, a little bit of a free ride here and a bonus. And I'm going to say it's R25. So we're taking a wall that's effectively or originally R7.5 and making it R25. So 3.5 times its original resistance value, maybe even 4, but you know, I'm not going to give it the full 30. So we're going to make this a lot better. Now we'll stop the heat from leaving in the winter, and we'll stop the heat in the summer from being absorbed into the house. So that's what we're going to do here. Up in here, there's going to be an air space between the wood and the sheetrock. We're going to insulate with the foam by injecting some foam in here so that warm air cannot escape into the attic. So the same way that warm air can escape through the top plates, warm air can escape on the other side of the wood. Actually, you know what? This is a little scary, but I actually see daylight from, wow, that is a little scary, from the inside of the bathroom. So, oh, here, look. So air has been leaking in this for a long time with all that dark insulation. This is where the air was coming right from inside the house. I'm guessing there's molding on the other side, but nobody ever spackled it, which is why we had a conduit of air going up into that space. And let's see how they're, yeah, see, look, all along here, same thing happened. So that means that this is another place where air was leaving the house directly, that they already paid the heat and coming into the attic space. So by sealing this up, we're not only stopping the air from coming out of the wall and into the attic, we're stopping it from in the house to come into the attic. That's pretty crazy, actually. Just goes to show you how poor new construction actually is. Huh. Incredible. Nothing ever ceases to amaze me. I'm not sure if it's going to leak there, but why not just put it as long as we're here? In every crack. Inject it into everything. So the other thing I'm going to calculate now is how much Tyvek we're going to put on, because we're going to put the Tyvek on first. So we're going to staple the bottom Tyvek to the bottom. Then we're going to add the insulation. And then we're going to pull the Tyvek over around the insulation. And then we're going to nail it in place. And then everything along here, once the Tyvek is in place, we're going to foam it so that it seals it at the top on both sides. I'm placing the Tyvek near the bottom, and I'm going to staple it to the wood all the way down there, all the way along the bottom, and have it folded out this way. Then after we add additional insulation across here, we're going to fold this Tyvek up over and around to enclose this in the ceiling, in the wall. So now we have insulation, which is another 6 inches on top of what was originally 3.5. And now I'm going to take the Tyvek and bring this up. The Tyvek is going to hold the insulation in place forever. We're going to staple the top, and then we're going to seal behind the Tyvek so the air can't get back out. And Tyvek allows moisture out, but it doesn't allow air in. So it's kind of a strange fabric, but it's also good to hold that other insulation in place for eternity. So that's about as tight as I can get it. Now I left this open. So I left this open so that I could just tuck it under on the other side. So I'm going to foam across that now. For the most part, we have an enclosed wall, and we have, we're not going to let any air escape. So now we have 9 inches of insulation at least in an enclosed cavity. So this wall will now hold and retain more heat. And now I'm going to seal up here with some foam, and then I'm going to push this over the other side so that it sticks and seals forever. And then that'll be a really good job of holding this in place. When we get to the other corner and the other side, that's when I'm going to worry about sealing this, because right now at this corner I may want to make an adjustment later from the other wall when the two corners meet. So let me foam it in place. So when I put this down in here, I pull it back as far as I can. As long as I get plenty of foam on the wall, on the wood, when I fold this paper, this Tyvek back, all that foam is going to seal it in place and lock it forever. So we'll be air sealed at the top. It's like liquid glue that inflates. Now, I just push that in place and tuck it in. So it's like expandable glue that will continue to expand on the other side, and then that's sealed forever. And that's our enclosed wall, which makes insulation at its full rated value. So that's the first one, and then we have, you know, the one on that side to do, the one on the other side to do. So all the heat that used to leave through the skylight is no longer going to leave through the skylight. It's going to be a much toastier bathroom. And considering they have a large tub in there, and if somebody wants to take a big tub soak, then they can enjoy the warmth longer.